The morning air was crisp and still in Washington, D.C., as the FBI agent moved carefully along the quiet streets. He had been tracking a man who had raised several red flags over the past few days. His assignments often led him into tense situations, but today felt different. There was something in the city's silence that seemed to hum with anticipation, as if warning him that anything could happen at any moment. The agent's eyes were sharp, scanning the area for the slightest movement. His training had taught him to notice details most people would miss: the way someone shifted their weight, the angle of their shoulders, the nervous twitch of a hand. Each clue was a thread that could lead to understanding, or it could lead to disaster. He had followed the target through crowded streets, hidden alleyways, and past several historic buildings, and now he was near the tomb of the unknown soldier. The tomb was one of the most sacred places in the country. Soldiers and citizens alike respected it, and the guards who stood there were some of the most disciplined in the nation. The agent knew that approaching the area required extreme caution. One wrong move, one misread signal, and a routine mission could turn into a headline-grabbing disaster. He moved slowly, keeping his body low and his senses alert. As he approached the edge of the plaza, he saw the tomb guard. The soldier stood perfectly still, a picture of precision and discipline. But there was something unusual about his posture today. The agent's instincts kicked in immediately. He felt the familiar surge of adrenaline as he raised his weapon, trained to act decisively when danger seemed imminent. The city around him blurred, and all that mattered was the man in front of him. For a long moment, the agent and the guard locked eyes. Neither moved, but the air between them seemed charged with tension. The agent's training had taught him that sometimes in these situations, even the smallest gesture could have enormous consequences. He carefully assessed the situation. Was the guard acting suspiciously, or was his perception clouded by the intensity of the mission? Questions raced through his mind, but his hand remained steady on his weapon. Every step, every movement in that plaza felt magnified. A pigeon fluttered across the stone path, and the faint echo of distant footsteps reminded him that the city never truly slept. Passers-by seemed oblivious to the silent standoff, some stopping to take pictures, others hurrying to work. None of them knew that in those 30 seconds, the lives of those standing near the tomb could have changed forever. The agent's thoughts flickered to his training days, the long hours spent learning how to read situations and people. He remembered instructors emphasizing the importance of patience, observation, and timing. He had faced tense situations before, but this felt different. The historical weight of the location, the sacred duty of the guard, and the unknown intentions of the person he had been tracking all collided into a moment of electric suspense. He adjusted his grip on the weapon slightly, not in aggression, but in readiness. His mind raced, cataloging all possibilities. The guard might be part of a drill, a decoy, or could even be reacting to someone else's threat entirely. Every scenario had to be considered, yet he could only act on the information he could see and interpret in real time. It was a delicate balance of caution and action, and he felt the weight of responsibility pressing down on him. Then he noticed a subtle shift in the guard's stance. The movement was almost imperceptible, but the agent caught it instantly. The guard's eyes were scanning the plaza, his hands relaxed at first, then adjusting slightly on his uniform. Something about it seemed rehearsed, precise, and yet there was an urgency that made the agent uneasy. His heart beat faster, but he forced himself to breathe slowly, to control his instincts, to ensure that his next action would be deliberate and not reactionary. In that brief pause, he also became aware of the sounds around him, the soft whir of a distant drone, the faint click of heels on the pavement, the rustling of leaves in the morning breeze. Each sound seemed louder than usual, sharper, as if the world had slowed down just for him to notice. His mind cataloged them all, searching for a pattern, a clue, a signal of danger. The agent remembered the protocol drilled into him during training. Never assume, always verify and prepare for backup if the situation escalates. He reached subtly for his radio, hoping to communicate without drawing unnecessary attention. A calm voice might prevent the scenario from spinning out of control, but he knew that time was critical. In situations like this, seconds could mean the difference between safety and disaster. As he observed, the guard shifted slightly again, and the agent's instincts told him that something was about to happen. He tensed, ready to act, but in those few seconds he also had to maintain a clear mind, to keep his judgment sharp. and to not let the fear of making a mistake cloud his decision-making. He was aware that history, honor, and duty were all intertwined in this moment, and one wrong step could disrupt that balance. The plaza seemed to hold its breath. Tourists paused mid-step. A bird landed briefly on the steps, and the morning sun cast long shadows across the marble surface. The agent's eyes never left the guard. Every movement, every detail, every flicker of expression was noted. He felt the tension coiling in his chest, a mix of fear, responsibility, and professional determination. And then, just as suddenly as it had begun, the tension seemed to multiply. From the corner of his eye, he noticed subtle movements around him, figures approaching, moving with careful precision. He couldn't immediately tell whether they were part of the threat, part of the city, or something else entirely. But he knew that whatever was coming, it would change everything in the next 30 seconds. In that moment, the agent understood the fragile balance of his profession. The line between hero and headline is often a breath away, and the duty to protect others demanded calm, clarity, and courage. His mind raced through contingency plans, each more intricate than the last. He calculated escape routes, safe zones, and positions where he could act without harming innocents. The weight of responsibility was heavy, but he did not waver. As the seconds ticked by, the agent kept his weapon steady, his eyes locked on the guard. His training reminded him that patience was as important as action, and in high-stakes moments, one misstep could spiral into disaster. He focused on his breathing, controlled the adrenaline, and prepared for whatever was about to unfold. Even as he waited, he could feel the gravity of the place pressing down on him, the history, the honor, the lives represented by the tomb of the unknown soldier. He understood that every decision mattered, that every action had consequences beyond what could be immediately seen. He remained vigilant, ready and determined to ensure that whatever happened next would be handled with professionalism, respect, and precision. And then, just as the tension reached its peak, the world seemed to hold a brief pause. The agent could feel the weight of 30 seconds pressing on him, the most intense 30 seconds of his career. Every sound, every movement, every detail mattered now. He knew that the next moments would define everything that followed, and he was prepared to meet whatever challenge came with focus, skill, and courage. The 30 seconds felt like an eternity. The FBI agent's eyes never left the tomb guard, whose precise movements still carried an air of calm discipline. But now something else was moving in the background. At first it was almost invisible, a shadow crossing the plaza, a faint shift among the trees lining the area. The agent's trained instincts immediately registered the change. He knew something or someone was approaching, and he had to be ready for anything. The morning sunlight reflected off the marble, creating a sharp contrast of light and shadow. Every footstep, every subtle movement seemed amplified in the stillness. The agent crouched slightly, his muscles tense, his breathing controlled. Years of experience had taught him that in situations like this, patience and observation were just as important as action. Even a single misjudgment could escalate into something irreversible. Then he noticed the figures. Moving with quiet precision, they were dressed in dark tactical gear, their movements deliberate and synchronized. His heart skipped a beat, but his mind immediately assessed the situation. These were not civilians. Their posture, speed, and formation suggested highly trained professionals, likely military. The agent quickly realized that he was not alone. Backup had arrived, though he did not yet know who they were or what their objective might be. The figures drew closer, weaving through the plaza with incredible coordination. The agent could see the outline of their helmets, the glint of their equipment catching the sunlight, and the calm efficiency in the way they moved. He recognized the style immediately. Special operations, perhaps Navy SEALs. The thought brought a mixture of relief and renewed focus. He was trained to handle tense encounters, but working alongside elite forces added a layer of complexity. The guard, meanwhile, remained still, seemingly unaware of the approaching team. His posture remained perfect, his hands folded neatly. The agent's mind raced to interpret the scene. Was the guard part of the operation, or was he simply unaware of the impending support? Every detail mattered, from the slightest twitch of a hand to the smallest shift in stance. Time seemed to slow. The agent counted in his head, each second stretching longer than the last. The SEALs moved like shadows, their presence almost ghostly. He watched as they fanned out strategically, ensuring no gap was left uncovered. Each movement was precise, deliberate, and silent, reflecting countless hours of training and experience. Even in this high-stakes moment, their professionalism was apparent. The agent realized that coordination would be key. Any sudden action on his part could disrupt the delicate balance of the operation. He kept his weapon steady, maintaining his focus on the guard while also monitoring the approaching team. Communication would be critical, but he needed the right moment to establish it. A wrong signal could trigger confusion or worse, confrontation. The SEAL's approach was nearly imperceptible, yet the agent could feel the shift in energy around him. The plaza seemed charged, every detail amplified. The soft rustle of clothing, the faint click of tactical boots, the subtle adjustment of equipment. He recognized the patterns immediately. Each movement had a purpose, each position carefully calculated to ensure safety and control. As the figures closed in, the agent's mind raced through scenarios. What if the guard reacted suddenly? What if bystanders panicked? What if the operation required instant coordination? Each possibility was considered, analyzed, and stored for rapid decision-making. His training kicked in automatically, guiding him through the mental checklist of actions, contingencies, and safety measures. He took a slow breath and scanned the surrounding area again. The plaza was still largely empty, save for a few early morning tourists who moved quietly, unaware of the tension unfolding nearby. Their innocence reminded him of the stakes. Any mistake could put lives in jeopardy. He adjusted his stance, ensuring that he could respond quickly if needed, yet remain controlled and professional. The SEALs were now within visual range, moving in formation, their focus entirely on securing the area. The agent could see the determination in their movements, the silent coordination that came from rigorous training. Each operator seemed to know their role perfectly, anticipating each other's actions without the need for words. The synchronization was remarkable, almost seamless, reflecting the level of preparation and trust among the team. The agent's mind continued to process every detail. He noted the subtle shifts in the guard's posture, the slight turn of his head, the controlled breathing. These small movements could indicate awareness, suspicion, or simply routine. He could not afford to misinterpret them, yet he had to be ready for any outcome. His grip on the weapon remained firm but controlled, a symbol of readiness rather than aggression. Suddenly, one of the SEALs made a slight hand signal. It was almost imperceptible, yet the agent recognized its meaning immediately. The team was signaling that the perimeter was secured and that the situation was under control. Relief washed over him, but he did not lower his guard. The operation was still active and his role remained crucial. He kept his focus, scanning the plaza for any anomalies, any threat, or any sign that the situation could escalate. In those moments, the agent reflected on the nature of high-stakes coordination. Law enforcement and military operations required precise timing, clear communication, and unwavering discipline. The ability to respond effectively under pressure was what separated success from failure. He felt a renewed respect for the SEALs and their training, recognizing that their presence brought both reassurance and additional responsibility. The guard remained at his post, a figure of unwavering focus. The agent realized that the tension he had felt moments earlier was shifting, no longer solely his responsibility, but shared with the team now surrounding him. He observed as the SEALs moved with deliberate caution, positioning themselves strategically around the plaza to ensure full coverage. Their calm confidence contrasted with the agent's earlier anxiety, and he drew strength from their presence. The agent also noticed subtle communication among the SEALs, hand gestures, slight nods, and shifts in stance that conveyed information silently. He marveled at their coordination, understanding that in real-world scenarios, verbal communication was often too slow or risky. Their ability to convey meaning without words was a testament to their training, experience, and trust in each other. As the seconds continued to tick by, the agent felt a mixture of anticipation and relief. The situation, though tense, was under control. The SEAL's arrival had shifted the dynamic, providing reassurance while maintaining vigilance. He remained alert, fully aware that anything could still happen, yet he also recognized the growing sense of order and safety in the plaza. He allowed himself a brief mental reflection. The sacredness of the tomb of the unknown soldier, The honor of the guard and the professionalism of the SEALs created a tableau of discipline, respect, and precision. In that moment, the agent felt both the weight of responsibility and the relief of shared vigilance. The balance between caution and coordination had been achieved, and the scene was a testament to the importance of training, observation, and teamwork. As the team moved closer to the agent, their presence became unmistakable. Each operator positioned themselves around him, creating a controlled perimeter. The agent recognized the seamless integration of law enforcement and military tactics, two worlds working together to prevent any incident from occurring. He maintained his stance, ready to follow their lead while continuing to monitor the guard and surroundings. In that instant, the tension of the past 30 seconds began to dissipate. The SEALs' precision and professionalism ensured that the situation could be managed without incident. The agent felt a sense of calm determination, knowing that the operation could proceed safely. He understood that every action, every decision, and every movement had contributed to preventing a potential crisis. The plaza, once tense with anticipation, now carried an air of controlled focus. The agent, the guard, and the SEALs shared an unspoken understanding, each aware of the stakes, each prepared to act if necessary, yet confident in the discipline and training that surrounded them. The moment was a testament to the importance of vigilance, teamwork, and measured action. Even as the SEALs moved into final positions, the agent remained alert. His mind cataloged every detail, every nuance, and every signal. He knew that the scenario could change instantly, and he was prepared to respond with skill, professionalism, and precision. The past tension had shifted into calm readiness, a state of controlled awareness that reflected the dedication of those trained to protect and serve. And then, in a quiet, almost imperceptible moment, the agent realized the true value of shared vigilance. The SEAL's presence had transformed the situation from a tense standoff into a controlled, manageable operation. Every second of preparation, every ounce of training, and every careful observation had led to this point, proof that discipline, coordination, and respect for procedure could prevent potential disaster. The morning air in the plaza remained crisp, but now it carried a different energy. The FBI agent could feel the presence of the SEALs around him, forming a careful perimeter that made the area nearly impervious to any sudden threat. The tension that had filled the 30 seconds before their arrival had slowly shifted into controlled focus. He adjusted his stance slightly, keeping his weapon steady, yet no longer feeling the rush of uncertainty that had gripped him moments ago. The tomb guard continued his silent vigil, his movements precise and disciplined. To a casual observer, nothing seemed out of the ordinary, yet the agent knew that the slightest gesture could change everything. He continued to observe, fully aware of the historical and symbolic weight of the place. The tomb of the unknown soldier was more than marble and stone. It represented honor, sacrifice, and the nation's respect for those who had given everything. Mistakes here could not be afforded. The SEALs, though unseen by most, moved almost imperceptibly around the agent. Their training allowed them to blend into the environment while maintaining perfect awareness. Each team member knew their role and each action had purpose. They communicated silently with subtle hand signals, head tilts, and eye contact. The agent watched them with admiration and focus, understanding that their presence provided both protection and coordination. The agent's mind was racing even as his body remained calm. He reviewed the moments leading up to this point, the tense approach, the subtle shifts of the tomb guard, and the sudden appearance of the SEALs. He thought about the responsibility he carried, not just for his own safety but for the security of everyone in the plaza. His training had prepared him for dangerous scenarios, yet each real-life encounter carried a unique set of variables that could never be fully predicted. As the seconds passed, the agent noticed subtle changes in the environment. A slight breeze rustled the leaves of nearby trees. The sun shifted in the sky, casting moving shadows across the plaza, and a distant sound of traffic reminded him that the city around them was waking. The world outside seemed ordinary, but within the plaza, the tension of vigilance remained. The presence of the SEALs added reassurance, yet he knew that his focus could not waver. One of the SEALs made a small hand signal, which the agent recognized immediately. They were preparing to close the perimeter completely, ensuring that any potential threat could be neutralized without harm to innocent bystanders. The agent shifted slightly to accommodate the team's movement. keeping his eyes on the tomb guard while maintaining awareness of the positions of his new allies. The synchronization between law enforcement and military precision was remarkable. The guard shifted slightly, perhaps sensing the change in the plaza, or perhaps performing the meticulous movements that his training demanded. The agent remained calm, noting each detail. The guard's professionalism and discipline reminded him why these posts were entrusted only to the most committed soldiers. Their calm presence was both symbolic and functional, creating a sense of order and control that countered any potential chaos. The agent could feel the eyes of the SEALs on him, not in judgment, but in coordination. Their presence was a reminder that even the most skilled individuals worked best as part of a team. He understood that in high-stakes operations, communication, trust, and precision were critical. Every movement mattered, every gesture had significance, and every second counted. Time seemed to stretch as the agent and the SEALs maintained their positions. He could feel the subtle pulse of anticipation in the air, a shared energy among all those present. They were ready for action. Yet the calm discipline of the moment prevented panic or hasty decisions. He focused on his breathing, keeping each inhale and exhale deliberate, maintaining a state of alert readiness without losing control of his nerves. Then, a quiet voice came over the agent's earpiece. It was confirmation that the area had been secured, and that there was no immediate threat. Relief began to wash over him, though he remained cautious. He knew from experience that in operations like this, confirmation did not mean the situation was over. It only meant that the risk had been minimized for now. Vigilance remained essential. The agent took a slow glance at the SEALs. Their calm, disciplined movements reflected a combination of intense training and experience. He admired their professionalism, recognizing that their presence had prevented what could have been a chaotic or dangerous escalation. The team's ability to act with precision, coordination, and patience was a reminder of the effectiveness of disciplined preparation and teamwork. In the distance, the first signs of tourists and visitors began to appear, moving quietly through the plaza. They were unaware of the tension that had filled the air only moments earlier. The agent reminded himself of the responsibility he carried, not only for the guard and the operational team, but for everyone nearby. Every action taken in those critical moments had ensured their safety. The guard shifted slightly again, adjusting his stance as if completing an invisible checklist. The agent noted the precision of each movement, appreciating the dedication it represented. Every step, every gesture, every detail was part of a tradition of discipline that extended back for generations. He recognized that his role, and the role of the SEALs, was to respect and protect that tradition while ensuring safety in the present. Slowly, the agent lowered his weapon, not in relaxation, but as a gesture of cautious acknowledgement that the immediate threat had passed. His eyes remained on the tomb guard, and his mind stayed alert, yet the tension that had gripped him began to ease. The SEALs subtly adjusted their positions, creating a sense of order and closure. The operation was nearing its conclusion, and the sense of calm was gradually returning. The agent allowed himself a brief moment to reflect. The past 30 seconds, and then the arrival of the SEALs, had created a scenario that tested every skill he had developed in his career. Observation, patience, judgment, coordination, and communication had all been essential. He realized that the lessons from this experience would stay with him for a lifetime, shaping the way he approached future operations. The SEALs began to signal discreetly to each other, indicating that the perimeter was fully secured and that the area could be handed back to standard security. The agent noted the fluidity of their movements, the efficiency of their actions, and the clarity of their purpose. Their work was complete, yet it had been performed without fanfare or public recognition. The effectiveness of their intervention lay in its subtlety and professionalism. The plaza now seemed almost peaceful. The sunlight shimmered on the marble steps, the shadows shifted slowly, and the distant hum of city life resumed its normal rhythm. The agent exhaled slowly, feeling a sense of relief mixed with pride. The tense moments had passed and no harm had come to anyone. The combination of his own vigilance, the professionalism of the tomb guard, and the skill of the SEALs had prevented what could have been a dangerous situation. He approached the guard slowly, giving a respectful nod. The guard returned it with the same professionalism and composure that had defined his post from the beginning. In that silent exchange, the agent recognized the shared commitment to duty, honor, and the safety of others. It was a reminder that the work of law enforcement and the military was often invisible, yet essential. The SEALs began to move away in formation, their mission complete. The agent watched them go, appreciating the seamless coordination that had prevented escalation. He knew that such operations relied not on heroics but on discipline, preparation, and trust. The efficiency and professionalism displayed in the plaza would remain in his mind as a benchmark for teamwork and operational success. As the agent prepared to leave, he took one final look at the tomb of the unknown soldier. The marble steps gleamed in the morning sun, and the guard continued his silent watch. The moment was a powerful reminder of the balance between vigilance and respect, action and patience. He understood that the most important victories were often those that went unnoticed by the public, but preserved the safety and honor of others. The day resumed its normal pace around the plaza. Visitors began to fill the area, taking photos and walking quietly, unaware of the intense moments that had passed. The agent walked slowly, reflecting on the lesson of coordination, trust, and professional discipline. He knew that every detail, every decision, and every action mattered in moments like these, and that the work of protecting others required calm, focus, and dedication. As he left the plaza, the agent carried with him the memory of those 30 seconds of tension and the lessons learned from the SEALs' precise intervention. It was a reminder that preparedness, teamwork, and respect for protocol could turn potentially dangerous situations into controlled, successful outcomes. The agent knew that he would share these lessons with colleagues, apply them in future operations, and carry the experience as part of his ongoing commitment to service and protection. The plaza returned to its quiet dignity, the guard standing unwavering as a symbol of dedication and honor. The agent's presence, the SEALs' coordination, and the guard's discipline had combined to ensure a peaceful resolution. The moment had passed, but its significance would endure, proof that vigilance, professionalism, and teamwork could prevent chaos, protect lives, and preserve the respect